I mean, I've never seen it. I can't believe these people. I mean, I really can't understand what's going on here.
All over the galaxy, Coke, Diet Coke, Bubble Up, Orange, I believe. Of course, that speech was a recreation of the evil Captain Kirk from episode 37, called The Enemy Within. Yeah. So thank you.
Trek, in the exploration of space, showcases a vision of the future where things will be better, with lessons that can be as profound as the crew's discoveries, like a mirror universe that shows how the meekest character can be the most important. In the scope of science fiction, in the mirror universe, we learn that we must change for the better or suffer the worst. The ultimate fate? Becoming nothing more than a hive mind where the individual is lost within the group.
Well, I love individuals. I hate groups of people. I hate people who have a group of people with a common purpose. Because pretty soon they have little hats, you know, and armbands, and fight songs, and a list of people they're going to visit at 3 a.m. So I dislike and despise groups of people, but I love individuals. Every person you look at, you can see the universe in their eyes if you're really looking.
One day soon, man is going to be able to harness incredible energies, maybe even the atom. Energies that could ultimately hurl us to other worlds in some sort of spaceship. And the men that reach out into space will be able to find ways to feed the hungry millions of the world and to cure their diseases. They will be able to find a way to give each man hope and a common future. And those are the days worth living for.
Edith Keeler's death in one of Star Trek's finest episodes reverberates this tenet of the importance of the one and the meek individual. So much so that Harlan Ellison, the original writer of the episode, was willing to let Kirk break the one rule of Star Trek, just as the Kelvin Kirk would years later, the penultimate version of Captain Kirk, above the rules.
You lied. You think the rules don't apply to you because you disagree with them.
That's why you talked me into signing up in the first place. That's why you gave me your ship.
I gave you my ship because I saw greatness in you.
You know how many crew members I've lost since I
That's
became
your
captain?
problem.
Sure,
You think
one,
you're infallible.
not one.
You think you can't make a mistake. It's a pattern with you. The rules are for other people.
Some should
And
be.
what's worse is you're using blind luck to justify your playing God.
Then not only did you violate the rules, you also failed to understand the principal lesson.
Please, enlighten me.
You of all people should know, Cadet Kirk. A captain cannot cheat death.
I of all people.
J.J. Abrams' films were free to break the rules, but Harlan Ellison's script was stuck in the 60s. They changed the ending. In the original script, just like Kelvin Kirk would, Prime Kirk was willing to sacrifice everything, attempting to break the dogma of the original series.
The city on the edge of forever, where all the winds of time converge. Kirk was ready to sacrifice everything for his love, Edith Keeler, her idealism resonating deeply within him. But in my version, Spock becomes the anchor, holding Kirk back from saving Edith, reminding him of the devastating consequences for humanity. It's a moment of profound tragedy, logic versus emotion, duty versus love. However, the final episode missed this step. Instead of a gut-wrenching conflict, Kirk simply closed his eyes and let her die. The human tragedy felt hollow, its potential lost in a moment that should have shattered us.
Deliberately stop me, Jim. I could have saved her. Do you know what you just did? He knows, Doctor. He knows.
Ellison was correct. The difference between the hero and the villain in Star Trek has been shown multiple times in many different guises to be those who stand aside and do nothing, the conflicting prime directive of the whole entire series. This episode is one of many interconnected philosophical tenets throughout the series, when future Captain Picard decides to do nothing and let history take its course.
Stabbed through the back.
I was a different person in those days. Arrogant, undisciplined. With far too much ego, far too little wisdom. I was more like you.
Then you must have been far more interesting. Pity you had to change.
He learns the same lesson from the Edith Keeler dilemma.
You gave me the chance to change, and I took the opportunity. But I admit now, it was a mistake.
Are you asking me for something, Jean-Luc?
Give me a chance to put things back the way they were before.
Before you died in sickbay. Is that what you want?
I would rather die as the man I was than live the life I just saw.
This dilemma has created a franchise loop where the TV shows and films are now about what you expect to happen, an endless time loop as it tries to fix timelines.
I am experiencing epoch. The feeling I've done this before.
Yes, last Tuesday night.
It's not what I mean.
I've been having the same feeling.
I've never heard of a group like that.
That's because it doesn't exist yet. I come from right about here. Approximately 900 years from now.
Further back in time, the larger the anomaly.
I've brought you to a monumental event in history.
But you've been to the future. You know it's going to happen.
I prefer to look on the future as something which is not written in stone.
This is a very important day, Jonathan.
I don't have time for this.
It'll only take a minute.
You know, I was thinking about what the captain told us all about the future. About how we all changed and drifted apart. Why would he want to tell us what's to come?
Sure goes against everything we've always heard about not polluting the timeline, doesn't it?
That is where I'm from, Jim. The future.
Warning, Captain. The present is a veil between anticipation and horror. Lift the veil, and madness may follow.
Star Trek has forgotten its many pasts, and humor and awareness in some cases.
One, time traveler is a security threat. Two is
a disaster. I thought you said they were cool. They are? This is serious.
Spock, what's going on with Portal?
Contrasting opposites was what the show was about, where logic and emotion fight each other.
Logic versus emotion. Duty versus love.
There's an almost Vulcan quality to the man.
The show's entire meaning is symbolized between Kirk, Spock, and Dr. McCoy.
Do you know what you just did? He knows, Doctor. He knows.
And the gift between them.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Message, Spock?
None that I'm conscious of.
The contrasting opposites is the meaning of Star Trek. The greatest captain Starfleet ever had in one universe is the exact opposite in another.
His name is among the most recognized in the Federation. He earned an impressive list of commendations during his career. Historians called him the greatest explorer of the 22nd century. 2 planets were named after him. Hey!
Captain, I never will understand humans. How could a man as brilliant, a mind as logical as John Gill's, have made such a fatal error?
You drew the wrong conclusion from history.
The inner oppositions, the characters' dreams, the voyages are explorations of what they know and what they feel.
Logic versus emotion.
Captain, do you dream?
The commander is a physical representation of a dream, an idea conceived of by the mind of a man.
I do not understand. You're not supposed to. No man should know where his dreams come from. Spoils the mystery.
No, thank you, sir.
Fun.
Sugar. No, thank you, sir. Why are you stalling, Captain? I don't want the game to end.
Lars heard you talking in your sleep last night.
Did I say anything of interest?
No, you talked rubbish. But you're not sleeping. Bad dreams?
The dreams are lovely. It's the waking up that I'm beginning to resent.
All their dreams and hopes.
One can begin to reshape the landscape with a single flower, Captain.
But fighting myself is illogical. I had a terrible dream last night that I had to fight my human side.
You are half human.
Yes.
Yet you have chosen a Vulcan way of life.
I have.
In effect, you have abandoned what I have sought all my life. Ambassador Spock, may I ask a personal question?
Please.
As you examine your life, do you find you have missed your humanity?
I have no regrets.
No regrets? That is a human expression.
Yes. Fascinating.
Would you like to finish it, Captain?
Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek creator, believed that people's true feelings and hopes emerged under the harshest circumstances, exemplified in the show's darkest and most hopeful moments.
I was wrong. There is something of interest here. I've learned a great deal about human behavior.
Oh?
Under stress, you become volatile. You're a far more dangerous species than I previously believed.
We're going to stumble, make mistakes, I'm sure more than a few before we find our footing. But we're going to learn from those mistakes.
It's in the resolves of Star Trek's greatest stories you find the deepest philosophical truths and falsehoods.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Where'd you hear that?
Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 5.
Why were the humans so afraid of Klaatu and his android?
Before we made first contact with the Vulcans, the people of Earth were pretty violent. They had a hard time trusting things they didn't understand. The characters in the film knew nothing about Klaatu, who he was, where he came from, so they tried to kill him.
I understand.
You must think we're barbaric. All the things humanity's accomplished, building ships like this, traveling to other worlds, and we're still down there shooting each other.
The progress on Earth, it didn't happen overnight.
But it was progress all the same. You've managed to change. We haven't. Even if you could take us back, I don't think we're ready.
What's he paying you?
5,000 apiece, double for the last 3.
Is that what human life is worth in the 21st century?
Ambassador. Are Vulcans afraid of humans?
There is one species you remind us of.
Picard, why would a people so advanced want to learn about us?
We were once as you are now. To study you is to understand ourselves.
And I was not prepared to stand by and be a spectator. And you, my dear, you have no idea what Dunkirk is, right? You're a stranger to history. You're a stranger to war.
Star Trek believes that the science is more important than the fiction. The science of right and wrong, truth and falsehoods, of all its characters' dreams, no matter how small. A wagon to the stars, Gene Roddenberry called it.
It's just a TV show.
Ultimately, the show was not just a tool to sell products on TV. It was a vision to transport us to new worlds and ideas, a continuing mission to transcend fear.
I don't think you like the fact that I beat your test.
Furthermore, you have failed to divine the purpose of the test.
Enlighten me again.
The purpose is to experience fear. Fear in the face of certain death. To accept that fear and maintain control of oneself and one's crew. This is a quality expected in every Starfleet captain.
Its current mission is a time loop to fix broken timelines, to rediscover the original crew's heroism, continuing to confront the nameless frontier behind the opening titles. In these stars is a cartograph that maps out the dreams of a better future. The timelines may be broken, but the original mission is still the same. It's just the rules that changed.
Except I didn't. You know how many crew members I've lost since I
That's
took the
your
captain's
problem.
chair?
You
Not
think
one.
you're
Not
infallible.
one.
You think you can't make a mistake. It's a pattern with you. The rules are for other people.
Father, I think I should marry Danik sooner rather than later. Don't you?
Seize the time, Maripol. Live now. Make now always the most precious time. Now will never come again. But then, of course, this is your enterprise.
I actually served on 2. This was the first. She was also the first ship I ever served on as chief engineer. You're the chief engineer of a starship, and it's a time of your life that'll never come again. When it's gone, it's gone.